We're gonna make it after all.
Listen, he'll never be on The Voice, but he can sure write entertainment. Scott Tady, as promised, we're here at the world headquarters of the Beaver Allegheny County Times. Megan Miller, part of the podcast that is The Buzz, is shooting this on the AT&T phone. We begin with Mary Tyler Moore, born in Brooklyn, New York, 1936, December 29th, and she died in Greenwich, Connecticut from pneumonia complications. She lifelong sufferer of diabetes since she was the age of 33, actress, philanthropist, activist. Her husband, Robert Levin, at her side, married to her in 1983 until her death. But Grant Tinker, the former CBS executive and NBC chairman, during their time as husband and wife, they made a lot of, good product in the way of Mary Tyler Moore Productions, including The Mary Richards Show and Rhoda, The Lou Grant Show, and all of those folks that were part of that show. You think about it, Betty White and Gavin MacLeod, Ed Asner,
Bruce Beachman as Phyllis?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Lots of folks. And then the Mary Tyler Moore Show, which was her big break. She starred with Dick Van Dyke, Desilu Productions, and just fantastic stuff. 1961 it debuted. She won 2 Grammys. And Mr. Carl Reiner, one of the reasons why she became a superstar. Where do you begin with this iconic talent, Scott?
It was 2 iconic shows. The Dick Van Dyke Show, the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Kind of groundbreaking, her portrayal of a single working woman. In the latter show in Minneapolis, people like Oprah cited her as the biggest influence on her career. Just how inspirational that show was.
No kidding.
Very, very often. Yeah,
wow.
She's a big fan of that. And just a great show. It was entertaining. It was funny. These characters we cared about. We tuned in every week to see what they were up to. And the reruns live on. Dick Van Dyke Show was ahead of my time, but I've seen every episode thanks to Nick at Night used to show them and other networks now.
Ordinary People, when she got nominated for Best Actress, Academy Awards 1980, Robert Redford actually did win Best Director Award. It got nominated for 6 and it won 4 of them. Timothy Hutton, Donald Sutherland, that was an amazing role. I can still remember walking out of the movie theater going, oh my, Mary Richards can really act.
1980, right? Yeah, very powerful movie. There's a Pittsburgh story to Mary Tyler Moore. Which, if you remember, before the Steelers' very first Super Bowl, January 1975, that would have been, they shot an episode based on the Super Bowl. Lou Grant laid a lot of money down on the Steelers. I don't know if you remember this.
Wow.
And so at the end of the night, he ends up kicking everyone out because he's mad because the Steelers are losing by several touchdowns to Minnesota. This is the fictional episode. So Mary's there sitting there on her couch, go Steelers, go Steelers. As soon as the show was over and they were rolling the credits, Mary Tyler's voice came on. She said, we were just having fun. We don't know what the real outcome is going to be in tomorrow's game. But if Minnesota does win, remember, you heard it here first.
Well, guess what? They didn't win.
They didn't.
But the Steelers did. She was such just a beautiful woman, but her heart, she was an animal activist.
Yes.
She worked with juvenile diabetes, in which they, in 2007, because of her work with Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, they started the Forever More campaign. And she did win a Golden Globe. You have to really wonder if she ever had any time for herself.
Yeah.
Work.
Yeah. She was a good talk show guest too. Like when she'd be on the Letterman show or whatever, she brought I won't say edgy sense of humor, but she had a funnier, darker sense of humor than you would expect from sweet Mary Tyler Moore. But very entertaining in that regard as well.
And a very sad time in her life when her son died of a self-inflicted accidental gunshot wound. Her son Richard, and that gun, which was a sawed-off shotgun, got actually banned from the market because of that death, because of that hair trigger. But she overcame so much and just always seemed so happy and bubbly. But I keep going back to the people that were such a big part of that show, and we kind of mentioned them all. And they just went on to have their own shows. And I don't think there's ever been a 10-year span in television. And really, she credited in a recent interview I saw, Lucille Ball was actually on the catwalk watching her, do Dick Van Dyke for Desilu Productions. And when it was over, she basically met Lucy face to face, and Lucy said, "You're good. You're going places." So
that was the all-time best TV apartment, Mary Tyler Moore's apartment. That sunken living room, the bookcase right there,
the window.
I almost would have moved to Minneapolis just to live there.
Yeah, I know. She's really something special. She will be missed. And again, you have to admire the fact that she was such a standalone business person too, where she had great business sense and she took charge of what she did, and you got to respect that.
Definitely.
All right, now 4019's Nick Ziegler, always checking in with me and wondering what's going on, and I want to talk a bit about his music. And because of our friendship, I met him at Wooly Bullies, Jay Wooly's wonderful establishment when they came into the show. They're getting a lot of pub.
He was one of the finalists. Little Steven on Sirius XM Radio has a channel, Underground Garage, and bands like Cheap Trick, the Rolling Stones, Butch Walker, major acts were competing against our guy, Nick Ziegler from Monaca, 4019s. They didn't win, but just to be nominated, seriously, it was an honor for a band that has a guy from Monaca, and they're out in California now. Hopefully get them back in Beaver County this year. They've done an annual show or two past 4 years or so there's a good chance. In fact, he's been hitting me up on asking for local places to play. He mentioned Whiskey Rhythm in Monaca is one of the places he's considering. So it's really cool. These guys from California, one of them's from Detroit, they come to Beaver County and do some shows. So it's always a good time.
What else? Speaking of Sirius XM Radio, I'm a huge fan of Billy Joel.
Gotta be.
And I have loved Billy Joel since my days of playing album-oriented rock in Beaver Falls at the old Kiss 1067 back in the 80s. And, this guy, he hasn't really done anything new since the, I think, late 90s. But his body of work is incredible. And I was listening to a town hall in which the great Howard Stern is an amazing interviewer. He and his longtime sidekick Robin were there, and a number of stars, Maritha Etheridge, also Pink sang She's Always a Woman to Me. Pink's mother was there actually in tears, and she was talking about why she loved Billy Joel so much. And I love this guy, and he's the type of performer that you could be crying 1 minute and pounding on the steering wheel the next, just trying to keep up with the beat. Explain to me what it is about this guy, this singer-songwriter, who is going to be doing a show at Dodger Stadium coming up, but he actually was at Madison Square Garden one entire summer, I think just about 5-6 nights a week, and he sold it out every night. What is it about him?
Great songwriter.
Yeah.
The piano's a nice angle as well, but just these are songs with characters, again, what we care about. We're interested in the Piano Man and, moving out to Who Wants a House out in Hackensack. He's got some good original lines that stick with you, and he's got a sense of humor, like in Only the Good Die Young. He's got that, bit of a subversive sense of humor I think people appreciate too. And, he still rocks out. That show last year at the stadium was a very good show, PNC Park.
Yeah, Maritha Etheridge did Only the Good Die Young, and man, he was even impressed. She really hit a home run with that one. What else is happening locally? Anything else going on?
I'll tell you what I'm writing about this Sunday, a couple things. The International Blues Challenge is in Memphis every year, and representing Western Pennsylvania is a local guy, Charlie Barrett from Center Township. So he's going down there facing off against musicians from literally all around the world, Australia, Europe. I have a profile on him. And then one of the former third-place finishers is from Beaver County, Billy Evanachko. I know you're familiar with very well, Billy the Kid. Mm-hmm. He is now doing a Stevie Ray Vaughan tribute act. They've done shows in Ohio. They have a show booked in Florida. They're looking to get some more gigs. I have an interview with him talking about the challenge of impersonating on stage one of the guitar immortals, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Academy Awards recently, the nominations. I did a big blog on that. Any thoughts about that?
Seen 5 of the movies so far nominated. La La Land's my favorite. I just think it's so entertaining and so richly done.
Emma Stone, Ryan Gosling.
But you got to root for Fences, the Pittsburgh angle, Denzel Washington. Viola Davis won a Golden Globe. I'm predicting she'll win an Oscar for that knockout performance. Denzel's up for it. The movie itself. August Wilson posthumously nominated for screenplay adaptation. So there's a lot to root for. And since it's filmed in Pittsburgh, set in Pittsburgh, written by a Pittsburgher, the sentimental favorite for locals, I think.
Grammys coming up middle of February. And speaking of Grammys, you told me that Lincoln Park actually has a Grammy Award winner.
Eric DeFade is one of the resident artists there, and he did some work on a jazz album by Nancy Wilson that won some Grammys. So, it's always a neat thing to see just how much talent there is in Lincoln Park here in Midland, Beaver County.
Speaking of Grammys, it's all about timing, folks. I don't know, I've just been on this journey, and I'm just going to continue to take the train. The Liquid Cup I brought with me, little Henry Mancini action, and of course, Brighton Hot Dog Shop. He won a few Grammys, didn't he?
Is it 20, I believe?
22.
Yeah, and how many Oscars? 3 Oscars?
Tons.
And Grammys, or Emmys. So he's one of those guys that...
Henry Mancini All-Stars, great young performers. Grammys are coming up, and we're going to try to maybe do something at Lincoln Park to kind of let everybody know what's going to be happening. Any thoughts about the upcoming Grammys, and we'll call it a night.
Yeah, I've been so busy studying the Oscars, I gotta get back and remember who the Grammy nominees were. But
we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in a future episode.
All right, John. Don't forget, tell them about the podcast, The Buzz, you and Megan.
Scott and our camera woman today, Megan Miller. Every week we sit down and we talk entertainment. We talk about trends, we talk about movies, pop culture, songs, whatever's got us fired up at the moment. We end with a love it or loathe it segment. We just take on something we're mad about or excited about. It's all entertainment though. So listen, it's on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, timesonline.com, all kinds of places.
And thank goodness for Antenna TV and Me TV, because Mary Richards and Rob Petrie's beautiful wife will live on forever, and that's a good thing. Mary Tyler Moore, rest in peace. We'll see you later tonight. Cassidy Emmanuel Super Bowl preview coming up with your Pratt Pack. Have a good night.